Numbers don't lie, but the suits sure do. They printing that paper while you chasing what's due. Ledger got no borders, can't fake what's true. Digital escape hatch, I'm breaking through. Blindfolds tight, but my vision stay clear. System rig heavy, still I persevere. Centralized puppets, man, they pulling them strings. I'm out here stacking sets while they sell you false kings. Decentralized dreams, we breaking the seams. Freedom ain't free, but I'm chasing the memes. Blockchain the truth, no shadow regimes. Decentralized dreams, yeah, decentralized dreams. Fiat's a leash and they got us on choke. Inflation's a virus, whole system's a joke. Gold got heavy so they turned it to smoke. Now I hold private keys, ain't no chains on my throat. Bank runs coming, man, the writing's on walls. Bailouts for the rich, crumbs for us all. But code don't lie, it's trustless and raw. They fear what they can't own, so they outlaw. 21 million, the people's decree. Math over muscle, that's financial decree. No middleman tax and my wallet stay free. Numbers don't lie, but the suits sure do. They printing that paper while you chasing what's due. Ledger got no borders, can't fake what's true. Digital escape hatch, I'm breaking through. Blindfolds tight, but my vision stay clear. System rigged heavy, still I persevere. Centralized puppets, man, they pulling them strings. I'm out here stacking sats while they sell you false kings. Decentralized dreams, we breaking the seams. Freedom ain't free, but I'm chasing the means. No shadow regimes. Decentralized dreams, yeah, decentralized dreams. Fiat's a leash and they got us on choke. Inflation's a virus, whole system's a joke. Gold got heavy so they turned into smoke. Now I hold private keys, ain't no chains on my throat. Bank runs coming, man, the writing's on walls. Bailouts for the rich, crumbs for us all. But code don't lie, it's trustless and raw. They fear what they can't own, so they outlaw. 21 million, the people's decree. Math over muscle, that's financial decree. No middleman tax and my wallet stay free. 21 million. 21 million. 21 million.
Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Good morning, and welcome to Good Morning Crypto, where we turn your early hours in the morning into your edge in financial freedom. Today, I've got a few headlines. We saw some things going on in Europe. You know, the French Prime Minister resigned. Their stock market took a little bit of a dive off of that. I got some news about a federal rate cut and why even another federal rate cut might not help the populace very much and will mostly just help the banks. And I've also got a little article on the government shutdown. But before we get into all of that, let's dive on into that stock heat map, because you know I got it pulled up in the background and we're seeing a little bit of movement off of that this morning. So let's get on over to that. We're looking at a little bit of a green morning on the stock side of things. a little bit different than the crypto side. You know, it is looking a little bit red on the daily and the hourly, but we'll get to that in just a second. We've got Apple up 0.21% this morning. We've got Nvidia up 1.16 this morning. There's some competition that is nipping at Nvidia's heels coming out of China. We will talk about that one tomorrow. I wanted to talk about a few other things today. We got Berkshire Hathaway up 0.14%. We got Amazon up 0.69%. We've got Eli Lilly up 0.57. We've got ExxonMobil up 0.71. We've got Tesla up a whopping 2.38% in the pre-market right now. We've got P&G looking a little bit to the downside, but holding in that neutral range, down 0.05%. We've got Microsoft up 0.36. We've got Google up 0.2% and Meta up 0.43. Getting over to the crypto side of things, we are looking at some red bubbles here on the daily, but we've got quite a few green bubbles as well. Scrolling on down here, you're starting to see a little bit of green here on the hourly for some of these, but a lot of these projects still have a little bit of red that they need to contend with. If you have any alt requests for me to take a look at right off the bat to see what we might take a trade on, try to stick with something here in this top 20 and we will look at something to take a trade on. But go ahead, throw those in the chat for me. We've got Bitcoin up 0.9%, Ethereum up 0.5%, XRP sitting down just a little bit, down 0.7%. We've got BNB up 4.5%. We've got Solana up 0.3%. We've got Dogecoin looking like no change on the board for the daily, starting to see some green on the hourly. Tron sitting up 0.5%. We've got Cardano down 1.4%, Chainlink down 2.3%. We've got Shui taking a spot in the market cap from Hyperliquid, sitting up 0.7%, while Hyperliquid's down 1.6%. We've got Stellar Lumens up 0.5%, Avalanche down 0.1%, Bitcoin Cash down 0.1%. HBAR down 0.5. We've got Litecoin with no change on the daily, looking a little bit red on that hourly. And Leo token holding that number 20 spot for now, sitting down 0.6%. We've got the fear and greed indexes still looking a little bit neutral on the stock side. It did get a movement towards the upside. I would expect a little more movements toward that greed as we continue to see some nice green numbers in our pre-market that should probably be going into our market open. We are looking at 71 and greed on the crypto side of things. We could use a little bit of some cool off coming up, but do not fade Uptober. It has been doing quite well. We'll get to that Bitcoin chart in just a second to see where we might get some potential pullbacks to. We did reject off of an area I've had marked out on my chart since last cycle, so we will get to that in just a second. We do have a little bit of liquidity directly towards the top side of us. Looks like ADA is overwhelmingly being requested. Let's get that on the list there. We got ADA, and then let's see what else was there. Maybe Doge. All right, we can take a look at that one as well. All right, we got a little bit of liquidity directly towards the upside of us at $125,000. It ranges all the way to directly above our price action at $124,500. So quite a bit of liquidity towards the upside. We do have a little bit to the downside as well, sitting at $122,500. Not a lot of liquidity, but some to keep your eye on here. We do have that 3-day looking a little nice too. If you take a look at the bottom side here, we've got quite a bit of liquidity down here. We've got some sitting at $121,200 all the way down to $120,800. So definitely take a look at the downside, because there is the potential to get a little bit of some pullback after these massive rips towards the upside, kind of cool down some of the oscillators, really clear out some local liquidity, and then continue on towards the upside here. We did see some resistance at an area I was looking for some resistance at. So could see a little bit of some pullback before we continue towards the upside. But on this 1 month chart, you're starting to see some liquidity way up here at $136,000. That's right under my next top side target that we've been talking about here, and we will get to that in just a second. But let's get on over to the chat and that Bitcoin chart. I'm going to skip over the economic calendar. There was nothing really too heavy today, and we might not get anything heavy tomorrow either, especially with a government shutdown. So let's say good morning to the people in the chat. We've got Ada Ace in here. If you're not following his channel, you definitely should be. You're missing out. We've got Jesse Gluck in here. We've got Gear. We've got Dutchy. Good morning to all of you. I know Jay Violet's over there in the evening time in Australia. Good evening to you. We've got Alexander G, the mod queen. If you've got those emojis, go ahead and drop them in there. We've got K Diggity. We've got Buck sliding on in here. Good morning to you. We got Curtis Hill talking about Arrow. We can take a look at Arrow a little bit later. I know that's not in the top 20, but I know it's been doing quite well. We've got Steve Hickey in here. We've got Melissa in the chats as well. Good morning to all of you. Let's scroll on up, see who else we got. Let's see, we got Dylan VA in here. We've got Steve Hickey. We've got Donato Cabrera as well. Good morning to all of you. Scrolling on up, see who else we got. Let's see. Dang, the chat is flying this morning. We've got Mountain Man in the chat. Never seen you here before, but glad you could make it. We got Hobby Horizons as well. New name for me. So good morning to you. Glad you could make it as well. Scrolling on up a little bit further. Let's see. I know I saw a few other new names. We got Paper Planes 210X in the chat. Good morning to you. And we've got MAB as well. Good morning. Any other names? I'm not seeing them. All right. Well, appreciate all of you showing. Oh, Ico sliding in here at the very last second before we were about to dive on into this Bitcoin chart, and Al Jr. as well. Good morning to both of you. All right, let's dive on into this Bitcoin chart real quick, and we will see how things are doing. AMD up 14% in the pre-market. Might have to take a look at that one. I've been talking about AMD for quite a while. They've got a nice little partnership with IBM, looking at making some not full quantum computers, but composite ones, where it's slightly traditional and slightly quantum. So as you can see here, we've got this resistance line that has been pulled from the 2016 cycle. It was our resistance on the 2020 cycle, and it has come in as resistance not once, not twice, but thrice here on our cycle right now. It is where we rejected off of before, and it's where we rejected off of after that push towards the upside. So Okay, Diddity, we will talk about that AMD tomorrow, because there has been some news coming on out. I just didn't want to touch on some of the more traditional side, as we've been seeing some crazy news that needed to be touched on today, like the government shutdown, which might let the markets actually run towards the upside. So let's get into this Bitcoin chart here on the daily. The weekly is seeing some hopium here as we get that curvature back towards the upside for our MACD and prime oscillator, and we're just waiting on some money flow here, up 22%. We might have to just take a look at the chart this morning, but there was some news on it that I wanted to touch on. So we will touch on that news tomorrow, though. So we are seeing a little bit of toppiness here on the daily. Not too unexpected after our strong bounce off of that $108,000 mark, and it has pushed us all the way back up above our platinum pocket. We were talking about that being our next real target zone for Bitcoin's price movement towards the upside. And to see us retest on that platinum pocket would not be too unexpected. That is coming in at 121,600. That's also right around where a lot of that liquidity was on the 3-day. So if we do get a little bit of pullback on the on Bitcoin, I would expect to at least hold that platinum pocket if we really want to continue on towards the upside here. As you can see, that resistance line was our rejection point. I would like to see us get above that and really turn that into some support here, and that's where we would get to my next upside target here at $130,000. That is the top side of our fib extension levels. I do have some more fib extension levels to kind of take a look at once we approach those targets, and that'll give us some other targets to kind of take a look at if we continue on towards the upside here. It is October, so don't fade that upside price action. We're just starting to get some green here on the money flow here on the daily, so that will help hold price action up after we grab some of the shorter time frame liquidity here. You've still got plenty of momentum to run here on the MACD, and we're just seeing a little bit of sideways momentum here on the prime oscillator. Not curving too hard to the downside, but we will need to cool that off, so a little bit of sideways price action will also do that as well. Taking a look here at that 1 hour, we're seeing that sideways price action that I was just talking about here. It hasn't cooled off our prime oscillator or our MACD too much. We could expect a little more cool off here, so seeing us at least hold that this range down here where all of our liquidity is from the platinum pocket to our highs up here at about 122.8 would be what I would kind of watch for. That is where all of the liquidity is. To come on down there and grab it would really cool off some of these shorter term time frames. So let's see what we got going on for the 15-minute and the morning here, and then we'll dive into some of those alt requests for a potential trade. We are looking a little bit toppy here on the 15-minute as well, but we are in an uptrend. We've got those higher lows and higher highs here. We are starting to stagnate just a little bit. As you can see, we've got some local resistance at 124.200, so that's that area I'd kind of keep my eye on for the morning. See if we reject off of that again, really grab some of that bottom side liquidity with how toppy all of these oscillators are looking here. We've got that money flow barely in the green, prime oscillator with some curvature, and MACD with some curvature as well, as your volume is starting to falter a bit. So to see that get some upside action when the market actually opens today would be kind of something to watch for, but for now we will kind of have to see if we reject again off of 124.200 and come on down and grab some of that liquidity there. Let me get that poll started in the chat. We had Bitcoin we could take a trade on. We've got ADA and Doge as well. So let me get those on there before y'all kind of vote. Let's see what those ADA and Doge charts are looking like. I didn't see any other top 20 requests. So let's dive on into that ADA chart, and then we'll take a look at Doge. All right, we had ADA getting back to that 88-cent price point we had talked about before. We're kind of doing a little bit of ranging here in this above the 50% retracement and 50 retracement and that the 88-cent price point. Let me get that on our actual alt chart so we know what's going on here. All right, we have the daily seeing a little bit of some hopium here as we're getting that sideways action here on the prime oscillator, and it's switching to the green. We're just waiting on some money flow. Oh, Pepe, I can get that one as well. Probably save that one for a little bit later though, because it is 6 o'clock and I've got some news to get through as well. So those are going to be the three options to take a trade on for now. So we'll take a look at the Pepe chart when we get to those other alt requests. So we've got that prime oscillator getting green here as it runs a little bit sideways. We are holding up the 50% line on our retracements quite nicely. That has been an area I've been talking about that we would really need to hold if we got some downside price action. That's coming in at 82 cents. We've come just a little bit short of that, and it looks like we're trying to make our way back towards the upside. daily has plenty of room to run here, as that MACD line is trying to break above our 0 line here, getting some light curvature back towards the upside. Let's take a look here at the hourly, see what might be coming our way for now. We do have a little bit of ranging price action. We've got these very equal highs up here that could very easily be taken. We probably have a little bit of liquidity to the downside, but we are in an uptrend here on this time frame here on the hourly. When we zoom it on into the 15-minute, you'll see that uptrend a little bit better here, but could definitely get a little bit of a break towards the downside first before we get that nice strong movement towards the upside here, as you're seeing this nice big body candle here and getting that nice little curvature here on that price action. We've got that MACD getting that sideways action as well, really struggling to break above our 0 line, and we've got that prime oscillator coming in with a little bit of sideways momentum on the hourly. Really waiting to see how price reacts with that nice move to the downside to see if we can get the rest of that money flow coming on in on the higher term time frame. Hourly is looking a little nice for some continuation if you can get that money flow coming out. So that 15-minute also looking toppy, just like Bitcoin was. So to see a little bit of some downside price action coming down to about 84 cents, where we see all of our resistance from here, would not be too unexpected. You might see it come a little bit lower though, so about 83.5 cents would be an area to kind of watch for. That is the bottom side of this sideways range here. Would be a nice little bouncing action, cool off those oscillators, and really give you that ability to rip back towards the upside here. We do have a target before 88 cents, and that's coming in at about 86.5 cents. So those are those two take profit areas I'd kind of watch for. If we actually get that dip towards the downside of about 83 cents, you have 86.5 cents being that first little area to kind of keep your eye on. All right, we had Doge as well. Let's take a look at Doge real quick, then we'll get to those news articles. Doge in an uptrend as well. Let's get this zoomed on out to the daily and zoom that on out, because we're not seeing a whole lot of that price action here. Doge has been in a uptrend for quite a while on the macro. As you can see, we had those equal lows, and then we've been in an uptrend ever since. So higher highs, rejecting off of all those levels that I had drawn out here. We are getting some bouncing action off of 24.5 cents, and we're really waiting to see if we can get above our local resistance at 26.5 cents. That's where we've seen all of the rejections on and that local time frame. As you can see here, we've got that those selling wicks that really reject off of that price point. If we can turn that into some support, we can make our way back up to 28 cents, 28.47. That's that level I have marked out here. That is where we got all our rejection from here, and it's pulled from all the way back here, where we get very, very equal candle bodies and some resistance. So 28.47 would be that next real upside target if we can turn 26.5 cents into some support. Let's take a look here at the hourly. Hourly probably looking a little similar to everything else, getting a little bit of sideways price action here, trying to see that money flow continue to come back in here as we're getting that sideways momentum on the prime oscillator. MACD getting a little bit of sideways curvature here, but we've got that local resistance to contend with first. So to see a little bit of some pullback, not too unexpected here either. Seeing some bouncing action around 25.5 cents would be a move to kind of watch for. It would probably cool off that 15-minute quite nicely here. As you can see, 15-minute also looking a little bit toppy, quite like the rest of our crypto markets. 15 minutes have been looking a little bit toppy. We are in more of a macro uptrend, so I would like to see a higher low again. That would really give us that stronger move towards the upside there. So nice little entry point coming in, probably around 25.28. That would be a nice little cool off point. Could not go all the way that low and could hit at about 25.5 cents though. So that'd be more of a for sure entry on Doge. That would allow us to get all the way up to our local resistance at 26.53, and then try to target a little bit higher all the way up at the highs here at about 27.2. So those are those two price points for Doge. We had one for ADA and Bitcoin as well. Y'all let me know what we should take that trade on, and we will get over to some news articles here, because we had a few. We've been hearing about a government shutdown. We are now heading into a brand new week of the government shutdown. Government shutdown heads into 6th day with no apparent movement. Scrolling on down here, Republican and Democrat lawmakers are at an impasse on reopening the federal government, provided few public signs Sunday on meaningful negotiations taking place to end what is about to be a 6-day shutdown, with President Donald Trump saying that layoffs are occurring. Asked on Sunday when federal workers would be fired, as he threatened to do, Trump told reporters it's taking place right now, and it's all because of the Democrats. Whatever, we're not gonna, he points the fingers, you can point the fingers at whoever. It's a lot deeper than just one side or another side here. The Democrats are causing the loss of a lot of jobs, Trump said, added, declining to answer a question about which agencies are subject to cuts. The possibility of layoffs would escalate an already tense situation in Washington. Lawmakers have struggled to find common ground and build mutual trust. Leaders in both parties are betting that public sentiment has swung their way, putting pressure on the other side to cave. For now, we're not really seeing sides really see too much strength in one direction or another, but as the government has maintained this shutdown and we have the potential of job losses on the government side of things, it does look a little bit worrisome for those job numbers. But the government job numbers have been holding up those job numbers for quite a while now. We have been seeing some nice green market movements towards the upside for your stock market, which, as we talked about here, happens quite a bit when you have government shutdowns. So definitely waiting to see how this kind of comes to a head. But for now, it's not looking like it's any closer, and we might start seeing some layoffs on the federal side. We're gonna skip all over the rest of that article here. I just thought it was worth a touch that it doesn't look like the government shutdown is coming to a close anytime soon. The Federal Reserve cut its rate, but one financial planner warns it's a non-event and won't change your life overnight. Is it too soon to refinance? On September 17th, the Federal Reserve made its first interest rate cut of 2025, lowering its federal funds rate by 25 basis points, or 0.25%, from 4% to 4.25% range. It's a move that didn't come as much of a surprise that in August, the U.S. economy added only 22,000 non-farm jobs. For many consumers, the federal rate cut is good news, although the Fed doesn't set consumer interest rates directly. When it lowers its benchmark rate, consumers' interest rates tend to drop too, which is not what we've seen this time. There's a reason for that. The federal funds rate determines how much it costs for banks to lend to other banks each other money overnight. When the Fed makes it cheaper for banks to borrow, the banks tend to pass those savings along to consumers in the form of lower interest rates on products that include personal loans, home equity loans, auto loans, and more. But just because the Fed finally made a rate cut doesn't necessarily mean you should rush to refinance or sign a loan. In fact, waiting a bit longer could work to your benefit. Now, let's dive on into that. This isn't going to change anybody's life overnight, Kate said. The reason why it may not pay to rush into a new loan or refinance is twofold. First, the Fed's most recent rate cut was fairly minor in the grand scheme of things. A 25 basis point cut isn't going to create a huge drop in consumer borrowing rates. Secondly, the Fed is expected to make 2 more rate cuts before the end of the year. Since we're approaching the final quarter of 2025, it would make a lot more sense to sit tight and wait to sign a long-term loan or refinance an existing one until the upcoming cuts are made. Diving on over to that CME Fed Watch tool, we're now sitting at that chance for another 25 basis point being 94%, and instead of a 50 basis point rate cut, we're seeing those chances for no change increase just a little bit, especially since we're not going to be seeing a lot of data coming out from the government until that shutdown ends. That does make it a little bit harder for the Fed to make some of these decisions. So I do expect this chance to kind of increase just a little bit unless we see the federal government open back up. That is why we saw that switch from about 5% chance to a 50 basis point rate cut and then swap back over to about a 5% chance for no rate cut. We'll be watching this going forward here. We've got the French markets fall after Prime Minister resigns. This is not some American news, but it is a trend that we've been seeing over in Europe as some countries kind of struggle with some of the same things the US has, but a little more on the risk side. They're sitting at points where we might be heading to here in America. And this is why I kind of like to focus on those global markets just a little bit. French assets weakened and the euro fell against the dollar after the country's prime minister stepped down after barely 1 month in office. Prime Minister Sébastien Lecornu handed in his resignation to President Emmanuel Macron on Monday morning, according to the statement from Elysée Palace. This marks the shortest tenure as a prime minister in the history of France's modern Fifth Republic. On Sunday, Macron named a new cabinet made up of 18 ministers, 13 of which were reappointed, failing to impress opposition parties and triggering criticism from lawmakers. France's blue-chip CAC 40 index, which opened in the red, traded more than 2% lower in morning exchanges. Banks Societe Generale, hopefully I nailed that, BNP Paribas, and Crédit Agricole were the worst performers, shedding roughly nearly 4 and 5%. So we're definitely seeing a little bit of movements out of those European markets. To see the dollar gain a little bit of strength on the euro, definitely been needed for America, but we'll kind of have to see how this all plays out. Yeah, European struggles with immigrants. Hey, same problem we're having here, and we're seeing a lot of problems across the Western world, and not just like that problem, but we're seeing it in their the rate that they're seeing their inflation pressures increase. You're seeing the strength of the dollars really decrease as well. The euro has held up a little bit better than the dollar, but as all of these kind of unfold, you're seeing those inflation pressures really start to ramp up, kind of like we're starting to see here in America, as they've done quite similar things and are just ahead of us in the cycle, is not too unexpected. And of course, everyone's going to blame the government. It's what we do here in America as well. And, there's only so much control that they have over the markets, especially after they've injected so much liquidity in there, and everyone's ramping up their debt to GDP cycles. So things are kind of a little bit out of control. Let's see. We had Arrow and AMD to take a look at. Let's see what we got here. Pepe as well. That was that other one. Let me get that on the list as well. And then anything else to take a look at, go ahead and throw it in the chat, and we'll see if we can get to that. France is doomed. Hey, I mean, yeah, it's happened before. They're on their Fifth Republic, so Now, I think they'll figure something out. But a lot of those Western countries are not doing so well. And it's not just France, it is the trend that we've been seeing across the board. Especially as you look at like that 10-year yield, it is in that downtrend, which is why you're not seeing those movements towards the upside, those movements to the downside on your rates. Definitely looking like you have a little bit more to drop here as well. The dollar finally getting a little bit of strength here at an area we were talking about as that euro loses some strength. We're holding 97 and 70 points as some strong support, which is an area we've been talking about. It does consolidate us just a little bit further and allows us to break above that golden pocket there. Eli Lilly can take a look at that one as well. Let's get over to AMD. That one was talked about. It is in my portfolio as well. So let's get on over to AMD. Oh, I'm guessing on the crypto side of things. Nope, pre-market. There we go. Look at that movement towards the upside here. Pre-market opening all the way up here at $205 when price ended up closing at the 50% line here on our fib extensions. So just a little bit short of that platinum pocket. Looks like some people are taking some profits in the pre-market right now. We did get that nice strong bouncing action off of our support, and we're really waiting to see if we hold this golden pocket. That platinum pocket has been our resistance. Let's zoom this on into a shorter term time frame there. That daily is looking a little bit toppy. Hourly definitely going to look a little bit toppy here after that move towards that platinum pocket. We are seeing a little bit of sell-off incur, so to see us get some downside price action into that CME gap that will be created on market open is not too unexpected there. Platinum pocket, that golden pocket on the fib extensions pretty much coming in as that midline as we got almost directly towards that platinum pocket. We're seeing a little bit of some pullback there. Hourly looking quite nice on some money flow, so to see some continuation down a little bit lower is not too unexpected. Looks like it's really seeing some sell-off in the pre-markets right now. It was up a little bit higher. It is now up 23.4%, and we will kind of jump into that news article tomorrow as we don't have a whole lot more time. So AMD definitely looking nice. It has been in an uptrend for a while, both on the macro and the shorter term time frame. As you can see there, we've got those higher lows and higher highs. If you zoom it on out to that macro, we've really got those higher highs. Here's our higher low. Really waiting to see if this comes in and gives us a little bit of continuation towards a higher high above that platinum pocket. Platinum pocket is looking like it is a little bit of resistance, and we've got a giant CME gap that we're going to have to contend with. So we'll see what's going on tomorrow with AMD when we dive into that news article I had seen. So we had a few alt requests as well. Looks like Bitcoin is winning for that poll. Let's see how many votes we got. We got 16 votes. So let's end that poll. Looks like Bitcoin's the clear winner. And then we'll see if you guys want to go long or if you want to go short. So long or short there. I'm assuming y'all are going to be favoring the longs, because that's normally what y'all do here. You favor those longs. We rarely get a vote for a short trade. So I've got that poll going. Put your votes in and we'll get that Bitcoin trade hammered on out when we get to the end of the show. So we had Arrow and Pepe. Let's dive into that Pepe chart first, because I've got that on my list way down here. We talked about it this weekend. We wanted to get above some key levels. We really wanted to hold this at bottom area at 50949, and that's really what we ended up holding over the weekend. Let's get this zoomed on out. Take a look at that daily time frame, because we do have some areas that we will need to keep our eyes on to the upside here. if we start seeing a little bit of resistance. We have our local resistance right now at 40104. That is where we see all of those selling wicks from there, and we will need to get above that price point first to really get back up towards that platinum pocket at 40119. So that is that next real upside target to kind of keep our eyes on if we can get above our local resistance. Daily is starting to look a little bit nice here for some upside movements. We do have a little bit of resistance to contend with as well, so we'll kind of keep our eyes on that. What was support is now going to be resistance, and we still have this resistance as well. So definitely looking like we could continue towards the upside just a little bit, as that MACD is getting a curvature back towards the upside with some strength, and we're really just waiting to see how this short-term time frame money flow goes. Let's get this zoomed on into the hourly here. As you can see, we've been doing some ranging over the weekend. We've got these higher lows coming back into play, but you can see we're also making lower highs. So we do have a little bit of local resistance to kind of contend with, as well as a sideways local resistance to contend with as well. Getting that drawn on out here real quick from those candle body tops. You can see that's our local resistance. Let's make that a little bit thinner there, and you've got that nice support coming in on the downside here. Really waiting to see how price reacts at that constriction point, see if we can get that move back above, and then continue on towards the upside there. So two resistance price points to kind of keep your eye on for now. Let's get the horizontal drawn out as well. That was our area to kind of keep your eye on. Not green, it is going to be white. So let's get that point drawn out. There we go. That is coming in as our short-term resistance area to kind of keep your eye on. So Pepe looking a little bit nice if you can get that nice constriction and movement towards the upside. Really contend with this resistance first and then continue on towards the upside there. Let's see how Arrow is looking like, and then we'll get over to that Bitcoin chart to see how that long trade is going to get set up. So we had Arrow. I'm sure it's on my list somewhere. Not in my favorites. We'll just type it on out. Arrow. Not the stocks. We've got that on Coinbase. I guess that was the chart we had been doing it on. So let's get this zoomed on out. Take a look at the daily here. I guess we had a little bit of an uptrend that we were looking at, and we broke out of that. So let's get that deleted. Looks like the support's still coming in a little bit strong. I'm assuming it's off of a shorter term time frame though. We got those nice candle body closes directly on top of that support line. You can see the wicking action below it, but all of these daily candles closing directly on our support line here. We've got our local resistance coming in at $1.19. It does look like we're in a little bit of a downtrend here. So let's get that drawn on out. Take a look at that. You've got your resistance coming in. We faltered a little bit short of that, and you've got your trend here as well. So we don't have our third touch. These are not exactly trend lines for they are two touches, so we would like to see a third touch on this. It is also right in line with that local resistance, so we'll kind of have to see if we can get the move above that first. Let's get that one deleted, because this one from down here looks like it's doing a little bit better as some support. So extend to the right. There we go. Looking like a nice little bit of a constriction on that price action as well. It is continuing this. We still have this uptrend to contend with. We're just seeing a bit of a local consolidation here. Let's get this zoomed on in. Take a look at that hourly. See what we're looking at there. Seeing a lot of resistance at that $1.19 price point. We are at least holding the highs from above the 382 though. So that does look a little bit nice. Could definitely see a little bit of some cool off in the morning. Get that nice little sweep below here. if we don't see that money flow continuing to come on in. Let's get that zoomed on in so you can see it there. We've got that money flow getting a little bit of some curvature. It is a higher low from back there as well. Really waiting to see if we can get that continuation. We will have to contend with that $1.19 first. So that might be our resistance price point to kind of watch. That might push us down just a little bit and give us that nice little clean bounce off of the 382 all over again. Let's take a look at that 15-minute and see what the morning might be bringing our way here. We got a nice sideways price action through the weekend. Really waiting to see this money flow get back into the green as that MACD is getting that nice curvature back towards the upside. Prime oscillator getting the curvature as well, but it's sitting in the light red here. So also got your money flow sitting in the red. Really gonna see us do some battle with our local resistance, and we've got some nice strong support below us at the 382. We are in a little bit of an uptrend right now, but we're seeing a little bit of some stagnation up at the top of $1.19. So I would like to see a little cool off on the shorter term time frame. But if you get this money flow back into the green here on the short-term time frame, you've got a lot of upside movements. That next real target coming in at about $1.22 for the upside there on Arrow. So those are those price points I'd kind of look for. Let's take a look at what our Bitcoin trade might be. Looks like y'all are favoring 64% long. So let's get over to that Bitcoin chart, see what we're looking like. We've got that nice uptrend continuing here. We do have 124.3 being that 124.2 being that local resistance to kind of keep our eye on. So if we can get above that, I'd really like to enter along. If we can see a little pullback as well, I'd like to enter along. So I'll leave it up to you. Do we enter now, or do we see if we go for a little bit of pullback, or do we have a limit order set towards the top side there? So those are the kind of moves. Enter now. Enter now. Let's go limit lower, or enter at resistance bounce. So y'all let me know what you're thinking on those ones. So there we go. I will get that poll started, and then I'll wind the show on down because I got 2 minutes to go. So y'all let me know. I just started that poll. Limit order at sweep of liquidity. All right. So that's kind of what I had in mind as well. But y'all get that. Y'all get that entered on the poll, and I will get over to the solo screen and we will wind that show on down. Thank you for everyone that tuned on in today. We got a few viewers over on X, so I appreciate all of you tuning on in as well. We had quite a bit of views here on YouTube, so looking like the new time frame, well, which is the old time frame, is doing it quite nice. Looks like we're getting a little bit of moves towards the upside right now. On Bitcoin, really waiting to see how that local resistance comes in to play. We might get that. Looks like it's rejecting right this second. So tune in to the rest of the shows here on the Piper Academy. We got 2 other shows every single day. We've got that morning market report at 10 a.m. Eastern time. That's the place to be in the mornings when you need the breakdown of our data. Piper does an amazing job with the data breakdown. We've also got OC on there to help y'all with some trades, looking at some assets. We've got that trading with OC every day at 8 p.m. Eastern time as well. That is the late night place to be, as you can have a lot of fun, do a lot of learning, and he does a little bit of gaming every single Friday as well. So trading with OC at 8 p.m. is another place to be every single weekday. Until next time, though, I will see you in the chats, and make sure to wake up because today's going to be a good day.